Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for BoardGameGeek, and I'm with Bruno.
Hi.
Bruno Cavallo, designer of Seven Wonders Duel, which is published by Rebels Productions. And there was one expansion called Pantheon that came out a couple years ago. And now we are queuing up for the second expansion, which is called Agora. So Bruno, as we typically do for our interviews, let's assume people have played the base game, they're familiar with it. And so let's talk primarily about what Agora is going to bring to people if they already love Duel.
So Agora will bring them for sure a new way of playing, because first you have to add a new board, which is aside the military track. And this board represents the Senate, okay? This Senate is divided in 6 chambers, and people during the game, I will explain how later, will place some influence cubes into each chamber, and then you have a majority contest in each chamber. If you manage to have a majority in all the 6 chambers, you immediately win the game because of your political supremacy. That means that we have added a third way to win immediately the game. And this changed everything during the game, for sure. It will change your choices, okay? So now the question is how to place these influence cubes into these chambers in the Senate. You have some new cards that you can see on the pyramid there. These cards are senators. You have, sorry, because I'm not very confident to explain this game in English. So you have the white ones, which are the regular ones, I think, I would say. And when you play this one, you have a cost. The cost is S. It's a letter. That means that when you take one, you have to pay as many coins as the number of senators you still have before taking this one. That means that the first is free, the second will cost you 1 gold, etc., etc. Okay? And when you take that, it allows you to place some cubes, influence cubes, into the good side of the Senate. You have seen on the card, the white card, sorry if you can zoom on it, that this senators allows you to place cubes into the right side of the Senate, okay? And the number of cubes you will place is triggered by the number of blue cards you have still built still the beginning of the games. That means that it was something we really wanted with Antoine, because we have noticed that for experimented player, mainly, you don't take the blue cards. You prefer to trash them for gold. With this new expansion, it's no more the case, because having a lot of blue cards allows you to have a lot of cubes on the board, and it's a way to win. So you will make different choices, as I explained before. When you have a majority into one chamber, it gives you a special ability. You can see the small tokens you have in front of each chamber. At the beginning of the game, some of them are face up and some of them are face down. Immediately when you get the majority, that means that you have the effect of this chamber as long as you have the majority. That means it gives you some special abilities during the game. But if you lose the majority, you lose the effect. And if your opponent takes the majority, he will have the benefits of the effect. So it's very interesting to have this kind of fight during the game, because it's not a fight only for the final majority, it's a fight for special abilities you need during the game. Okay? You have also another kind of senators, it's the black ones. These are traitors. No, this is not a black one. This is this one. Yes, sorry. Thanks. If you take this one, you have the choice to place one influence, only one. Never mind the number of blue cards you have, but you can place it anywhere on the Senate, or you can choose to take these black cards you showed before, which are named. I'm revising my English. Sorry. The conspiracy cards, that's it.
Yeah.
These are so you can choose to draw 2 conspiracy cards and keep only one. The second one, you choose to place it face down, on the bottom or on the backside of the pile. And these are very, very powerful effects. But you don't trigger the effect immediately. You first have to prepare your conspiracy. That means you keep it face down in front of you. And then, can you reverse one card, please? Yes. Okay. And you see that you have a place to dedicated to place one of your small cards. That means that on the next turn, you have always the choice to take one card in the pyramid to trash it for money, or to build it, or to build the pyramid, or to prepare a conspiracy. That means you place it, you place it under the black cards. And as soon as you have prepared it, now, on one of your next turns, at the beginning of your turn, you can reveal the card whenever you want to trigger immediately this so powerful effect. So that means that you will make some surprise, some conspiration, some treacheries during the game. Okay? And you have also 2 new wonders. These 2 wonders come from a specific effect, which is on the bottom left of the card. That means that means that these 2 wonders, when you draft them, you immediately get something at the draft phase, at the drafting phase. That means, for example, it's reversed. No. Knossos, for example, allows you to place immediately 1 influence cube on the Senate. Immediately, when you draft the card. And the other one allows you to start with 1 conspiracy card. So this is not bad, for sure. And you will also have some 2 new green tokens, etc. So mainly that's it. And this expansion, you can play it alone with the basic game. You can also mix it with Pantheon if you want. So all is possible. You can play 7 Wonders Duel with Pantheon, 7 Wonders Duel with Agora, or 7 Wonders Duel with Pantheon and Agora, depending on what you like and depending on the time you have and how much you will, destroy your brain thinking about all the possibilities.
Now, if people are really excited to give Agora a try, do you know when it's going to be available?
Here in Europe, it should be available the second half of November. So I don't know exactly for US, but it should be very close before the end of the year for sure.
Great. Now, Bruno, because and please, let's go back to Agora if you have anything else you want to share about that, but you also have a lot of other projects in the works that if you want to take a few minutes just to talk about the other things you have, like Trek 12, Mosquito Show, Jurassic Bunch, the reprint of Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, Dragonomino, you've got a lot.
No, but first, maybe if you think you have some questions that I should develop, don't hesitate to help me for sure.
Well, we've been watching the chat. So far, there haven't been any questions about Seven Wonders Duel Agora. Certainly, we'll leave that up in its box that we can come back to that at any moment. But yeah, anything else you wanted to share about upcoming projects then?
But something I could say about Agora is that it's the second expansion, but in my opinion, it's easier to learn than the first one. Because I think it's more natural, in fact. And on my side, even if I really love Pantheon, I prefer to play with this one because I think you have more control of what we are doing, in fact. So my
and
personal
I like the
taste,
idea that, I like the fact too that you can combine that, play with one, play with the other, play with both.
That's it. We checked that, and to be honest, I was a little afraid that having the 2 expansions at the same time would be too much. And it was really surprising to us that no, it was working really well, and it was not too much. It's brainy, sure, but it's still really interesting.
Well, we got a comment from the chat from Board Game Guru who says the Senate does seem like a good addition. So it sounds like people are agreeing with you as well.
Let's see. And if people want to play Agora still now, it's possible to. You have a beta version online on the website, which is Board Game Arena. So that means you can play 7 Wonders Duel on Board Game Arena, but on beta test, you have also Agora. And that means if you have a premium account, I think you can play it still now, in fact. Yeah.
I haven't tried Duel on Board Game Arena yet. Is Pantheon available as well through BGA?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It was more difficult to develop. And 7 Wonders Duel is on Board Game Arena only for 2 weeks. So the development is still in progress for the expansions. But first, they did Agora because it was also connected to the release of the game, and it was easier to adapt it. So if you want to speak about my own...
I've got one more question about Agora from the chat, and which you may or may not be able to share, but are there any plans for a third expansion for Duel?
Not yet. We don't have engaged any new work yet. I don't know if it's really possible to add a lot of new things on this game because the game system, in my opinion, is more closed than the initial 7 Wonders. I think you have less possibilities to put small things. And for me, making just an expansion, just to have a lot of new wonders, etc., it's easy to do, but I think that it's not really satisfying for players. So I prefer to do something else. And why not, maybe one day, why not a standalone? A completely new game using the same core mechanism, but teaching a new story. I don't know, we have not discussed yet, but it could be another way to go in that, to develop the 7 Wonders Duel game system.
Yeah.
What we did during the lockdown is that we developed the solo version, which you can find in free download. So this is if we do something new, I would like to add the cards of the solo version into this new thing.
That you actually beat me to it. That was a question in the chat from user Joe Byer. Will the solo edition get an official release or just remain print and play? So you predicted that question beautifully. So there's definitely a desire from some of the community there to also see a printed version of that P&P.
Yeah.
And you also have a few fans in the chat as well from Maxim0000. I want to mention that I've bought and gifted 6 copies so far over the span of a year, and it's always been a hit. So lots of fans for you, Bruno.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are lucky. And I have always to be really, how to say, I have to thank Antoine to have invited me to work on this project with him, because it was really a big luck for me to be involved in that project, for sure.
Well, and that's actually a question I'm curious. Since Antoine you had this established big hit game of 7 Wonders, how much of a collaborative process was it when you were first developing Duel? Was Anton involved a lot in that decision, or did you just take the flavor of his game and create something completely on your own?
In fact, the story begins in a plane, and we were flying to Gen Con with Antoine together. and during the flight, he told me, "Hey, Bruno, I would really like to develop a pure two-player game for Seven Wonders, just because, yes, there is a variant inside the box, inside the game, the Seven Wonders game, but I don't like it. And for me, it doesn't give the taste I wanted to create on this game. It's a different game. It's not my Seven Wonders. And when I go on fairs, and when I meet players, a lot of them say, "Hey, I like your games, and I play it only at 2 players." But it's not the game experience I want to give. So I would really like to develop a two-player game. So I say, "Yes, it's a very good idea. So do it." And he said, "Yes," but I began to work on it, but it seems that I don't succeed to do anything good enough. So would you like to work with me? And we started to discuss immediately, and I think that 1/2 an hour or 1 hour later, we had all the concepts of Seven Wonders Duel on a sheet, and we discussed more during the Gen Con, and when coming back home, we had the first prototypes in maybe 1 week. Then it was a lot for the fine-tunings, but...
So you had like the majority of the game still on the airplane coming over to Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's one thing to get an idea that quickly, but to do it also on an airplane is another layer of impressive.
But it was, in fact, all the answers were quite natural, in fact, because if you want to adapt Seven Wonders for 2 players, the military cannot work the same way than in the first game, just because you don't have a right neighbor and a left neighbor. So you have to find something else. So making that kind of thing, a military comes to me or I push it on you, it was really a natural answer. It was not difficult to imagine that, in fact. The second thing is that I didn't want, I was not really satisfied with the way you are counting the green cards, the science cards in the reels, because as an expert, you know how it works, but each time you teach the game, you have to go again and again because people don't remember how it works. So I wanted to shoot that to make something really simple. And in a 2-player game, if you have some different ways to win the game, it's very interesting because you have a tension. I can win immediately on the military. I can win immediately on the science. But if we don't manage, then we go on the final scoring. And this gives the good tension to a game. So it was a very simple and natural discussion. And during this discussion, all was coming really naturally, in fact. It was not that difficult. The most difficult was to fine-tune that at the end, but not to imagine what to do.
Yeah, so that's interesting because for me, what I thought was the most intriguing twist in translating Seven Wonders to Duel was having the card layout of some up, some down, and that's the selection of the card rather than just being in a draft and you only had to think about what you were leaving behind. This, I had to think about what am I possibly revealing? How many am I revealing? That's the part that made my mind go whoosh.
But if you imagine, what is Seven Wonders? It's a drafting game, okay? That means that I have cards, I pick one, and I give the other ones to someone else. When you take the pyramid of cards, you have cards, I remove one, and you have the same choice with one more card aside. And it's exactly the same drafting mechanism, but placed on another way on the... It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar as a game experience. And that's the reason why you always have the feeling of playing Seven Wonders when you play Duel, because the game experience is very similar with very different things at the end.
Well, Bruno, we still have about 4 minutes left. Was there anything that else you wanted to share, either about design process in general, things coming out in 2021?
So this year I had this game, Trek 12. For this time, it has only been published in France, I think, but I know that there are discussions for all the countries. It's a roll and write game, but with some envelopes you can open or not, depending on the success you have during the game. So that means that the game will evolve during game after game. Here in France, we have a very huge success with that. And I just hope that the game will spread out in other countries for sure. And my last release, which came in the shops here just today, is Jurassic Brunch, which is a standalone game quite similar to Jurassic Snack, but it's also a two-player game. The game system is quite the same, but the effects are different, and you have different dinosaurs, which also have some specific effects. And if you have the two boxes, you can mix them and play up to 4 players, team against team. So that adds a lot of fun into the game. And that's it. Before the end of the game, I will also have an expansion for Imaginarium, which is named Chimera.
And then also Mr. Jack New York is coming back into print as well, correct?
Yes, but the game has not changed. No rules changed, no adaptation, because the game, we played it again and again, and we thought we have nothing to change. It's just refreshing the painting. But it's more than that, because I have to say that I'm completely stupefied by the work that has been done by Pierrot. The cover is, for me, it's fantastic, and I'm in love with this work for sure. Pierrot did such a nice job on this game. I'm really happy. So it will come next year. It's difficult to say exactly at which date it will come, because the situation today is that it's difficult to really plan anything. But for sure, it's the first half of the year in 2001.
How about any more? You have one comment saying, "No, do you want to?" Sorry, I'm having trouble reading that. Any more planned expansions for Abyss in the works?
Not yet. We have nothing in the pipe yet. We just did Conspiracy, the small box, which is a new game in the same. Sorry, but
I was going to say, I think that interview was probably one of the last in-person interviews I did, because you and I did that at FIJ in Cannes.
Yeah, but what I would like to do, but I have a problem of time, in fact, of free time to do that. I would like to create with Charles a big board game with miniatures which we could name Abyss Wars. Something like a kind of risk game in the story of Abyss. I would dream of that, but I have not enough free time to go in that project yet.
Stop being so successful. That's the solution to your problem.
Stop to buy my games.
Touché. Well, Bruno, it is a delight, as always, to speak with you. And I'm so excited we're able to really get some of the behind-the-scenes look at Seven Wonders Duel Agora, hear about a couple of things that have just come out, hear about a couple of things you wish could be. As ever, wonderful talking with you, and I hope everyone got to enjoy talking with the one and only Bruno Cathala. Thank you again.